attention. Firstly, mindfulness is attention, and it's always here now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lost in thought about past or future, you're not mindful. So it's always a function of it's sometimes I call self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you cannot be self-aware if you're not aware what's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no self-awareness without mindfulness, interestingly, because mindfulness by definition is being in the present, attentionally present, for over a period of time. It's not a split second of presence and then off you go. It's like stabilizing the attention is mindfulness. And then it has two primary qualities. It has that deeply open, spacious stillness. So like think about it like a sunset. It's like you're at the beach and you're at a sunset, and there's a sense of vastness and kind of everything's soft and relaxed and receptive and open. That's a function. That's one quality of mindfulness. It's this lovely, effortless openness. And then the other quality of mindfulness is this. It can get quite intense. Is investigative curiosity. So let me give you an example. I might have a thought. Oh God, it'll be nice when I have an ice cream later. I can watch that thought from the sunset perspective. It's like, oh yeah, there's a thought drifting across the mind. Whatever. Relaxed. I'm the sky, not the cloud. I just watch the cloud drift by, right?
And not get emotional, not attach an emotion to the thought. Just allow the thought to pass without attaching emotion.
Yes. The investigative style of mindfulness is the thought rises, oh, I wish I could have an ice cream later. Then I get curious. What's happening in the body right now that I'm trying to run from? Because the ice cream represents an escape from something that's happening right now. What is it that I'm in resistance to in myself, that I'm running from? And you might find it's loneliness, for example. So when I'm lonely, I eat ice cream. So I then get an insight into, when that thought comes and I start longing for ice cream, it's actually a sign for me that I'm lonely. Then I go, I'm kind of stylizing it now. It's all just attention, but I'm giving you a flavor of it verbally. It's like, what does loneliness feel like in the body? Where is it in the body? Does it move? Can I sit with it? Can I really sit with loneliness? Can I let go of all the stories and really, really integrate, be with the feelings that I normally run from? That's the investigative quality of mindfulness. And that's where all the really big growth happens, because what we've found is that maturity, and this is adult development, as research has confirmed this, is that maturity is the ability to stay with difficult emotions and not go for the compensatory addiction. Easy example, jealousy, in a relationship. It's like jealousy is an action to try and control another person, right? That is because the feeling of abandonment or aloneness is unbearable. So because I can't tolerate it, I go for the control. If I had to learn to be with and integrate the feelings of abandonment and loneliness in the body, I no longer am afraid of it because I've integrated it, then the jealousy disappears. And then you get really, really mature. And that's the height of maturity as an adult, is not being scared of feelings anymore, being able to, and the tricky part is it's quite binary. If you're not willing to feel the feelings, in other words, be mindful and present with the feelings, you will go for the addiction. 100% reliable. It's binary. It's one or the other.
That's fascinating. How do we, on a basic level, how do we get comfortable with some of these emotions that, emotional intelligence, for an adult is difficult for a lot of adults, especially I don't know how old you are, but I'm, hedging towards 50 now. And you know what, it is, we never spoke about emotions, and obviously culture plays a big role in that as well, and how we've been brought up. So you get to this age where you think you have some idea of emotional intelligence because you can understand someone on a certain level because you may have experienced the same thing as them. But then there's that whole other element of it when you said earlier before, integrating, understanding what you're feeling, not going for the chocolate or the cigarette or the alcohol or the drug or whatever it is that people do habitually or behaviorally to avoid that emotion. How do we, on a very basic level, if you can share that with us, integrate some of those emotions that are uncomfortable or sit uncomfortably with us?
The very first thing to say is to not, it's tricky. So I think it's the pinnacle in a sense of mindfulness work. It's really quite challenging. Is the principle of it is to embrace it and feel it. That's the principle. And the mind does not like that. The mind's like, but why would I do that? And the answer is because if you don't, you'll go for the addiction. It's one or the other, right? Now, all emotions are a physical experience. Any emotion you feel. So whatever I said, if I say I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel confused, I feel joyful, you could ask someone, where is that in your body? It's always a physical, one could almost argue if you didn't have a body, you wouldn't have emotions. All emotions are a physical sensation in the body. So when you have the feeling, so if someone said, I feel sad, I might say, where in the body is the sadness? Like, where do you notice? And they might say, oh, it's heavy in my chest area or something like, oh, it's heavy. Okay. How does it move? Is it hot or cold? And you begin to really just feel those feelings without the narrative and the story and the drama and and then you feel them without, this is the hard part, you feel them without agenda. Because most people say that, oh, so if I just feel the feelings, they'll go away. And it's like they will go away because all emotions are temporary. They shift and move. That's the nature of emotions. But most people go, if I feel that feeling, the terrible, dreaded feeling, sadness, shame, whatever, I'll get lost in it forever. I can't tell you how many of my clients have said that to me. And I go like, really? That's an interesting conclusion. So you believe emotions are permanent. You'll get lost in it forever, really? And I go, well, maybe you've never really investigated them, have you? You've never really looked at them, felt them, noticed them, embraced them, friendly with them. No. So then if you don't, you must bounce out. So it's kind of tricky because you have to then also have the courage sometimes to allow tears to come or to allow jumping around because anger's there, Like there's lovely somatic exercises. If there's a lot of anger in the body, you should jump up and down, beat a pillow, because it's like not vented at someone ever. That's never going to work out well for anybody. But it doesn't mean you don't feel the anger. You don't allow it. It's your life. Feeling anger is really important. It's your life energy. If you push anger down, you'll end up depressed. Depression. You'll depress emotions.
Without sounding narcissistic, I love anger. And I tell you why I love anger, because I find every time I get angry, and it's not necessarily pinpointed at anyone, I actually get angry with myself, if the truth be known, it actually shifts. There's always a shift. Yeah. Recently I was quite frustrated and angry with some work stuff, and I was really angry with myself, not with anyone in particular, but just with how did I miss that? Why didn't I think about this? And I remember waking up one morning and I said, I walked out of the bathroom and my husband kind of went, oh, what's happened in there? She looks like angry. You look angry. Are you all right? I said, yeah, I had a very, very abrupt board meeting with myself. I said, I know what I need to do now. And it literally shifts the energy. Yeah. And things started to change in the work dynamic. So yes. I think our perception of anger and because there's so much contradictory things in media as well, as some people say.
Well, we would say never act the anger out on anyone. That's never going to be a constructive. Verbally, physically, never. It's just not ever going to be constructive. But equally, don't repress it, because you'll end up in addiction again. You'll end up eating the chocolate cake instead of feeling your anger. You'll end up denying your anger, and you'll end up anxiety. A lot of people who are anxious, part of it's because they've repressed their anger.
Really?
Yeah, you repress. I know some people personally like this. They repress their anger and try and deny it, and then they end up constantly. The legs are jumping up and down. They sit, they sit in the leg. People, their legs bouncing all the time. That's a lot of that's unprocessed, unfelt anger, and then it sits in anxiety in the system, right? But again, it comes down to the bottom line is embracing the feelings in the body without the narrative and just patiently embracing them, just like you would a child that's sad or a child that's angry. You could imagine it's almost like that as an image. It's like, well, Michael's angry, right? Okay, so let him feel his anger. Okay, what does he need to do? He needs to jump up and down. He needs to shout. Okay, that's fine. Do it. Don't do it at anyone. Just do it in your own space. Or he's sad. Okay, I'm talking about myself here. He's like, oh, sad.
Yeah.
How does sadness feel in the body? Oh, the chest is heavy. Okay. What's it like just to sit and allow yourself to feel sad? The mind then wants to create drama stories. In mindfulness practice, the mind has nothing to offer you. So this is one of the tricky parts that takes a long time to get confidence in. The mind is a beautiful expression of mindfulness. You cannot think yourself to freedom.
You cannot think yourself to freedom.